let's say a meteor comes out right now and just blows you away, and and I don't want that to happen, but you're standing before God, and God says, okay, so why should I let you into heaven? What would you say?
I would say because I've put, you know, all of my will and belief and trust in you. I mean, Jesus was the one that said, "It will not be those who say, 'Lord, Lord,' that will enter in the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father."
And what
Those.
is the will of my Father?
Well, the only way you can figure that out for your
You take
life
the
is.
Eucharist if you believe John 6. Hello, everybody.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, but the only way you can figure out the will of God for your life is basically by walking in the Spirit. That's one of the first ways. It says if you walk in the Spirit, you won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. It also says that those who are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God. Now, I know that once you follow God, you walk with God, He's going to lead you into His will. It may not be fun and candy pops and lollipops all day, but Christ said, "Those who do not suffer with me will not reign with me." And so I would sum up my answer by saying, well, you know, God, you should not allow me into heaven, but I have done, you know, your will to the best of how you have led me on earth. I have not been perfect, but I have never forsaken you, and I put my trust in you, and I love you. But there is no reason why you should just let me in.
Are you
I mean,
familiar with Are you familiar with what Jesus taught in the Pharisee and the publican in Luke 18, starting in verse 9? The
yeah,
Pharisee,
yeah.
okay.
He had said that.
Pharisee,
Oh,
yeah, the Pharisee
you want me?
stood with, I got it right here. The
Yep.
Pharisee was praying, God, I thank you, I'm not like other people, swindlers, unjust, adulterers, even like this tax gatherer. I fast twice a week, pay tithes of all that I get. So this guy was obviously a follower of the law. He was a good man. He fasted twice a week. He paid tithes. He's doing more than I do, more than you do, I assume. He's not a swindler. He's not unjust. He's not an adulterer. He's not like the tax gatherer over there. And then Jesus says, but the tax collector, standing some distance away, was even unwilling to lift his eyes to heaven, but was beating his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, the sinner. And then Jesus says, that man, the tax collector, was justified. The Pharisee was not. Now notice, the Pharisee, he doesn't do bad things. He's doing good things. And he's standing before God. And he's condemned. But the one who offers nothing just says, be merciful to me, the sinner. Just nothing. No works. Nothing. Relies on God. Jesus himself said he was saved. You see that?
Yep, I do see that. And what I would say in response to that is,
I'd say
not
it's a really unfair comparison.
oh, say it again.
I'd say it was a very unfair comparison to compare so real to the Pharisee in that chapter.
Right, which I'm kind of getting to that. But one, I would say, not only does that remind me of the thief on the cross, who had, did something very similar. He just said, "Well, Lord, I believe in you. Can you remember me and when you get in heaven?" And so that happened to him as well. However, you do have other kind of things that come to mind. So, for example, this just came to mind. You have Paul writing to Timothy before he's about to pass away, and he ends up saying, "For I am ready, already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing." And so, I mean, now there's plenty of, I guess throughout the ages, people, who have died as martyrs who have said things like that. But, really, they're no different than the thief on the cross. They're no different than
Okay.
the person
But
that.
I raised the issue of the See, this is what happens. I raise the issue of the Pharisees, of verse, and basically what you guys do is ignore it. You go to something
No,
else.
no, I'm
Not
not
listen to
ignoring
the
it.
word of
It's more like no, I'm not ignoring it. What you're doing is an either or. What I'm doing is a both and. I'm not eliminating anything. One thing never cancels out
Okay.
all this other stuff.
Did the Pharisee, according to what Jesus said, was he a believer in God?
I guess like the one true God, the same as the Christians, and well, yeah, I guess you could say he was a believer in God.
Okay,
You're talking
and
about
did
Luke
he
9
do?
here, right, Matt?
Say it again.
You're talking about Luke 9 right now, just making sure I've got the right passage.
Yeah.
Luke 18, 9 through 14. So the Pharisee was
Right.
a believer in God, all right, and he
Yep.
was talking about how he avoided doing bad things and he did good things, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he's condemned. Why?
He is condemned because, to me, it just sounds like he's really putting all of his faith and expectations of going with God into his works, and not
No, he's not. No,
part
he's
of God.
not.
It doesn't
Not
sound
true.
like he's
Not
okay.
true, because he's believing in God. He's at the temple. He's
Alright,
trusting in
let
God.
me jump in here because I can't help but notice this is the same Jesus who just 8 chapters earlier, when asked by a lawyer, he said, the lawyer asked him, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself."
That was the law.
Baldy,
So-
has anyone actually ever done that except Jesus?
That's the right question.
Well,